Today we are going to learn about how to test the validity of syllogism or syllogistic forms through Venn diagram technique. Now if it is a syllogism, then we have to convert it into syllogistic form. Okay. Now see, here we have a syllogistic form EIO2. It means the major premise is an E proposition, the minor premise is an I proposition, and the conclusion is an O proposition. And the syllogism, we have to frame it according to the second figure. 2 means according to the second figure. So let us start doing that first. Let us structure the argument first. If it is an E proposition, then it will be no P is M. P means, here P is the subject term and M is the predicate term. Okay. Sum S is M. This is the middle term because this is the common term in both the premises. It will remain absent in the conclusion. Now the middle term is the predicate in both the major premise and the minor premise. Why? Because it is a second figure. Alright. And the conclusion is an O proposition. Sum S is not P. Now here the representation will be, I have shown it already in my last video, Pm equal to 0, Sm not equal to 0, because this is a particular proposition. It means particular proposition contains at least one member. This will not be a complete empty class. And this one will be Sp bar not equal to 0. So how we arrive at this, we have already discussed it in our last video. So now let us start the Venn diagram. Alright. Now we are to test the validity of this syllogistic form. So what are the rules of Venn diagram? We have to understand and know the rules of Venn diagram first. The first rule is that we draw 3 circles for 3 terms. One is for major term, one is for minor term, and another is for middle term. See, here we have drawn 3 circles. This circle is for minor term. We have represented it by S. This circle is for major term. We have represented it by P. And this circle is for middle term. We have represented it by M. This is the first rule. Now, what is the second rule? The second rule is that if one premise is universal and the other is particular, then we have to diagram the universal first. Okay, even if it is a minor premise, we have to diagram the universal premise first. Now see, in this syllogistic form, we have a universal premise, a universal proposition. That is, the major premise is a universal proposition, E proposition. So we have to diagram the universal premise first. Now the universal premise means Pm is equal to 0, means the common portion of P and M, we have to shade it completely. Now the common part of P and M is this one, this part. Okay, so we have to shade it completely. I am shading the common part of P and M. This will be in one directional shade. I have already diagrammed this one, the major premise. Okay. Next rule that we have to know is that we have to diagram only 2 premises, that is the major premise and the minor premise. We are not to diagram the conclusion. We should not diagram the conclusion. Right? We have to diagram only the premises. So you see, as per rule, we have to diagram the universal premise, and we have already diagrammed the universal premise first. Okay. So this premise has been diagrammed. Next is the minor premise. Sum S is M. That is, the common part of S and M contains at least one member. So what is the common part of S and M? This is S and this is the M part. The common part is this one. Okay. Now in this one, you see, this part is already diagrammed. So in this part we will put an X to indicate that it contains at least one member. So you see, this one is also diagrammed. So we have diagrammed both the premises. Now we have to see, right, whether the conclusion is included in the premises or not. After diagramming the two premises, this is the fourth rule of Venn diagram. After diagramming the two premises, we have to observe whether diagram of the premises includes the diagram of the conclusion or not. Okay, if it includes, then this syllogistic form will be valid, and if it does not include, then it will be invalid. Alright, now you see here, what is the conclusion? Sum S is not P, that is S P bar not equal to 0. Okay, so the among S and P, this part only the S part, not excluding the P part we have to consider, only this S part, does the S part contains at least one member? That we have to see. So see, this is S and this is P. Okay, so if we exclude P in this portion, does it contain at least one member? Is the diagramming done? Yes, the diagramming is done. Okay, see here X is given. Alright, so it means what? The conclusion is also diagrammed. Okay, so the fourth rule is that after diagramming the premises, we have to diagram two premises, and then we have to observe whether the conclusion, the diagram of the conclusion is included in the premises or not. If it includes, then it is valid. If it doesn't include, then it is invalid. Now here you see, since the conclusion, the diagram of the conclusion is included in the premises, therefore it is a valid syllogistic form. Okay, now you see, since it belongs to the second figure, so it is Festino mode. Okay, so this is how we are to test the validity of syllogistic forms through Venn diagram. Let me show you with another example. Now see, here we have taken another form OAO. Now O means particular negative. Sum P is not M. Here why I have taken, here M indicates the middle term. Now, and the predicate also. Now why I have taken M or the middle term in the predicate side? Because it is a second figure, and in second figure the middle term is always the predicate in both the premises. All S is M, therefore sum S is not P. The representation is P M bar not equal to 0. Since it is an universal proposition, S M bar equal to 0, and this one is S P bar not equal to 0. Now we are to test the validity of this syllogism. Okay, now you see, as per the first rule, we have to diagram the universal premise first. We have a universal premise, that is the minor premise. This circle represents the minor term, this circle represents the major term, and this circle represents the middle term. Okay, now as per rule of the Venn diagram, we are to diagram the universal premise first. Now here you see the minor premise is an universal premise, a proposition. Okay, so we have to diagram this first. Now S M bar equal to 0 means among S and M, only the S part, excluding the M part, only the S part do not contain any member. Okay, so we have to shade this S part. Okay, so the diagramming of this part is over. Next is we have to diagram the premises only. One more premise is left, P M bar not equal to 0. Okay, among P and M, only the P part but not the M part, okay, contains at least one member. So here we have to draw an X in this part. Now we have to check whether the conclusion, the diagram of the conclusion is included in the premises or not. Okay, if it includes, then it is valid. If it doesn't include, then it is invalid. Now you see the conclusion is S P bar not equal to 0, means among S and P, only the S part, okay, it must contain at least one member. So did we put any, or did we diagram it, or did we put any X in the S part? No, we didn't. The conclusion is not diagrammed. Okay, so since the conclusion is not diagrammed while diagramming the premises, therefore it is an invalid syllogistic form. Alright, so you see we have taken a valid syllogism also, and we have also shown how a syllogistic form can be invalid. Now this is how you were to test the validity of syllogism or syllogistic forms through Venn diagram technique.